What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitico Response. We cover political news. We keep you up to date and keep you informed with everything that the government does. Now, me, on a personal level, I love me some irony. I can't get enough ironic stuff. It just, it tickles my fancy, if you will. It makes me just love living life, and the irony in this story we've got coming up is through the freaking roof. So what I'm going to do right quick, though, I'm going to set up a little bit of context to figure out what in the hell we're talking about. Check this out right quick.
The president is issuing a very strong denial tonight against accusations he forced himself on author and advice columnist E. Jean Carroll at a department store in Manhattan more than 20 years ago. Carroll raised the allegations in a just-published New York Magazine article. She tied the publication of to her new book, What Do We Need Men For? A Modest Proposal. In the article, Jim, she writes the following, and again, these are very serious allegations. The moment the dressing room door is closed, he lunges at me, pushes me against the wall, hitting my head quite badly, puts his mouth against my lips. She then continues, she says, I am shocked. I shoved him back and he started laughing. He seized both my arms and pushes me up against the wall a second time. And as I become aware of how large he is, he holds me against the wall with his shoulder and jams his hand under my coat dress and pulls down my tights. However, the president says, I've never met this person in my life, adding shame on those who make up false stories of assault to try to get publicity for themselves or sell a book or carry out some sort of political agenda. He continues, no pictures, no surveillance, no video, no reports, no sales attendants around. I would like to thank Bergdorf Goodman, again, that's the department store, for confirming they have no video footage of any such incident because he says it never happened. False accusations diminish the severity of real assault. Trump then goes on, Jim, to ask for help, saying, if anyone has information that the Democratic Party is working with Mrs. Carroll or New York Magazine, please notify us as soon as possible. The world should know what's really going on. It is a disgrace, and people should pay dearly for such false accusations.
Okay, so we all know about the E. Jean Carroll case, and, New York changed its laws, the Adult Survivors Act. It seemed like they put this in place just to get E. Jean Carroll to sue Donald Trump for some sex allegations that clearly were made up. If anybody paying attention to the case, anybody that looking at it could tell that these charges were made up, for God's sakes. I mean, there's no witnesses whatsoever in a busy department store in the middle of New York City, right? Nobody saw it. Just so happened to be right across from Trump Tower, and, instead of doing it over there, he goes into the department store, into the dressing room to do this. It's like, come on now, nobody is buying this. However, the corporate press and the mainstream media, they're very persistent with their lies, and they push this story and push this story until it had everybody believing, a lot of people believing that Trump was actually, he done this, y'all. He's a best for president. He's trying to run for president, and he is a best. Like, even Bill Maher just said recently the other day when he was talking with somebody, wasn't Trump a rapist, blah, blah, convicted rapist, blah, blah, blah. No, that was a defamation case, and he couldn't be found liable for the it was just a defamation case. They couldn't charge him with that. But anyway, nevertheless, the irony comes with this. Check this out, y'all. NYC poll says law allowing rape suit against him was unconstitutional despite voting for the legislation himself. This is just so great. Kevin Parker, a state senator for New York. I talk about this a lot. I talk about, you get what you vote for type of thing. It's like, take Martha's Vineyard, for instance, right? We love us some immigrants. Yes, bring everybody. Tell everybody to come on. We'll take care of everybody. And the very second that Greg Abbott ships some migrants up to Martha's Vineyard, we got to get these people out of here. What are y'all doing? We can't handle all this. Blah, 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 blah. Just going outright nuts on the issue. You got all these Democrats in these Democrat-run cities continually voting for Democrats and Democrat policies that destroy their city. Crime-ridden places. Look at San Francisco, for God's sakes. When Xi Jinping came, they actually cleaned the streets up, cleaned up all the poo, just to show off for an authoritarian dictator. Just blows your freaking mind the lengths these people go to virtue signal. That's all it seems to be to me, is a simple virtue signal with some of their policies, and their policies end up biting themselves in the ass. Check it out. A Brooklyn state senator claims the law allowing a lawsuit against him to move forward was unconstitutional, even though he actually voted for the legislation and then bragged about it. In court records filed this month, notoriously hot-headed Pole Kevin Parker formally denied the allegations against him, but he also went a step further, asserting that the Adult Survivors Act, which allowed the related lawsuit against him to proceed, was unconstitutional. God, you gotta love this stuff, right? This guy voted for, these people voted for this. He was all for it. He was getting on social media cheering for this. All these people were cheering for this because they get to go after Donald Trump, right? Oh, we got to get Donald Trump. Evil Orange Man is bad all the time in these people's minds. But when you vote for stuff like this, you can't really be mad when it turns around and bites you right in the ass. Yeah, that is what's called Democrat policy. Yeah, Democrats are insane. That's why I say Democrats are insane all the time, because just look at this. Oh, it's unconstitutional to go after somebody with a false allegation. Yeah, you get what you vote for, folks. And these people, when you vote in Democrat policy, I'll say it again, you get insanity. The now expired act permitted alleged victims to file civil lawsuits against their accused attackers within a certain window, even if the state's statute of limitations had run out on their claim. Right, that was another point of contention for this thing, which seemed like all they're doing this for is Trump, because there was an expiration date on this law. They just wanted it in there for a little while just to go after Trump. It seems like, right? Like, I'm not some big conspiracy theorist, right? Like, I'm sure a lot of these Democrat nut jobs just saw this legislation and saw a good way to virtue signal. Oh yes, all New Yorkers, we don't want to leave any victims behind type of mentality thing, right? We can virtue signal here a little bit. Oh, and we get to go after Donald Trump. Yay! Parker was accused of the 2004 alleged attack in November 2023 and a claim that made it just under the wire. They just barely made this thing in there. The state senator, along with every other member of the state senate, had voted for the legislation in 2021. Parker even touted his support of the law in a statement in which he denied the rape charges against him shortly after they were levied in November. Man, you got to love the irony here. Like I say, I live for these moments like this when irony just swings around and slaps somebody right in the face. You can't help but love it. You can't help but revel in it. Of course, this is a bad situation, obviously, for anybody to get false allegations put against them. But, however, once again, like I talk about with Hamas, you get what you vote for, y'all. Yeah, listen, everybody, anybody out there that's a Democrat that happens to listen to this, when you vote for insane policies, just to virtue signal, just to point the finger and say, we're better than you are. Yeah, you get insane policy. That's what you get. I voted in favor of the Adult Survivors Act to ensure all New Yorkers can seek justice and be heard, Parker wrote of the legislation, which was also passed by the Assembly, signed into law by Hochul in May 2022, and expired in November 2023. These allegations are absolutely untrue. My work and advocacy will continue, Parker said. So even when his own legislation turns around and slaps him right in the face, he's like, no, we're still going to push this garbage on everybody because it's passed now. Wait, yeah, it can't hurt nobody else. I can promise you, this person, at least this person, will never vote for anything like this. Will never, I guess, reinstitute this law ever again, because it's unconstitutional, right? Like, you shouldn't be able to just make up allegations and then go into a civil lawsuit with somebody over some, unfounded allegations of a sex crime or, whatever it may be. You got to think these things through, folks. Just because you live in a Democrat-run state or city or whatever doesn't mean that you have to uphold insane policies, right? Like, the Democrat Party used to not be insane. They used to be normal. Sure, some of their views and some of their outlooks might have been a little bit crazy, a little bit too progressive for some people, but, society is constantly progressing. We're constantly moving along forward. We've been shifting to the left for decades now. And, hey, everybody, once you get used to it, the next generation coming in, hey, that's normal for them, right? Like I'm totally fine with people want to be gay. A gay couple wants to get married, although I don't see the point in getting married. But if you want to do that, go right ahead. But 30, 40 years ago, that was absolutely unheard of. But now it's commonplace. Nobody bats a freaking eye at some of this stuff. Of course, yeah, you do still have some old school conservatives that are still out there that are like, nah, gay marriage is ridiculous. Like, I don't see the point in marriage in the first place. If your bond with your partner isn't strong enough that you need a piece of paper, yeah, I never understood that at all. I've been with my wife. I call her my wife. We're not legally married, but I've been with her for nigh on almost 20 years, 19 years now. And, we're not freaking going anywhere. I don't think we're ever going to get legally married. But, it does have its perks or whatever. But, and hey, I can save that. But, society is constantly progressing. And we move forward in these things. But when you look at something, right, like this is just outright insanity. Some of these Democrat policies, a lot of these Democrat policies are utter insanity. Like no cash bail, right? Flooding the country with criminal aliens. Biden's Title IX revisions, if you will. Just make it outright insanity. It blurs the line between reality and logic, right? Like logical, right? Like logic and politics don't tend to go together, but I just so happen to put them together to make that logical because, yeah, we need some logic with our politics, and it seems like the Democrat Party has lost all of its logic. Olga Jean Baptiste says she was working with Parker on relief efforts for Haiti in 2004 when he grabbed her by the wrists and forcibly raped her at her home, allegations that Hochul has called deeply disturbing. In 2005, he got slapped with misdemeanor assault charges after slugging a traffic cop who wrote him a ticket. I wonder if he was a state senator at that point. He probably was. Some entitled prick that thinks that he's above the law slapped a traffic cop who gave him a ticket. I mean, come on now. Yeah, this guy freaking deserves this, to be honest with you. A few years later, Parker lashed out at a post photographer and smashed his camera as the shutterbug was snapping pics of the pole outside his Flatbush home. Parker was found guilty on misdemeanor criminal mischief charges and forced to attend anger management classes. The same lawyer who represented Parker in that case, Lonnie Hart Jr., is defending him against the sexual assault charges. This is just lovely, if you ask me, and it goes to show you that, look, just because you're a Democrat and you want a virtue signal doesn't mean you need to actually go out there and vote for these ridiculous policies. Some of these policies don't make sense. We as a people need to sit back and think, okay, whose policies is going to make my life better or harder? Yeah, a lot of times Democrat policies are going to make your life harder, right? Like all these criminal aliens coming in, that's going to make your life harder. Biden keeps touting all these new jobs we're creating and the economy's fine, gaslighting everybody into oblivion, giving those jobs that he's touting to criminal aliens when they're not even supposed to frickin' be here. Just blows your freaking mind. But like you will see on my next video, I think the tides are starting to turn, y'all. And it's coming around, and I think we're going to win in November. But that's all I got for this one. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Do you guys love irony just as much as I do and can't get enough of stories like this? I mean, this is just great. Do y'all think he actually, assaulted that woman? Do y'all think this is a real allegation? Or do you think this is some E. Jean Carroll way off in the middle of nowhere kind of BS that was just made up just to go after somebody that smited somebody else. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and hey, hopefully I earned your subscription. And don't forget to hit that like button if you don't mind, and try to have a nice day and stay legitical. Peace.